Let me invite you aboard a Delta 757 jet. I'm fortunate enough to fly first class. It's good for a big guy. And in a 757 jet, there are 24 first class seats. I always get a window seat. It's where I've written a lot of my books on the road, a lot of my songs on the road. No one bothers me. I don't bother them. I'm flying on this Delta Airlines jet 757 from San Diego, California, cross country to Tampa, Florida. It's about a 5.5 hour flight. Every single one of those 24 seats in first class were occupied, including my seat. About an hour and a half into that airborne flight, I'm on my 16th Diet Coke. And obviously, I need a comfort break. Obviously, I need to go to the washroom at the front of the plane. Now, think about the washroom in the front of the plane. We've all been there before. With the high cost of tickets, don't you think they ought to splurge for a little bigger room? Is that too much to ask? And the door into the washroom, the door into the lavatory is always about this wide, and its operating system is an accordion hinge in the middle of the door, which means you push in the door, it accordions open, you have to turn sideways, and you actually scoot into the washroom. And as you know, the lights never turn on until you actually lock the door. So I scoot into the washroom, I latch the door lock, the lights flicker on, I turn, and I'm this close to the mirror. And snaking its way down the glass is the gooeyest, gunkiest, stinkiest, most unidentified stuff you have ever seen in your entire life. And I immediately go into gag reflex. I look around. There's water splashed from corner to corner, used paper towels on the floor, crap everywhere. And then it occurs to me, the person who comes in here after me is going to think I did all this. So I start cleaning it up. I'm like, oh no, you got to be kidding me. I finished what I went in there to finish. And when I came out, I was so mad. I was so grossed out beyond belief. I was so ticked off. And so to the best of my ability, I felt it was my job to communicate with every single one of these other 23 first-class passengers. Now, I've been trained, I've been raised to be a gentleman, so I didn't say anything. But to the best of my ability, I got eye contact with every single one of them. And to the best of my ability, I communicated heart to heart, spirit to spirit, man to man, man to woman. Okay, which one of you low budget people trashed this washroom? I wanted to rip their lips off. It was that bad. I went back to my seat, I scooted into my window seat. I'm looking out the window and I'm fuming inside. And then I learned the lesson. You cannot buy class. Because of the thing that I do for a living, because I'm a speaker and an author and a songwriter, I'm invited to play golf with some of the greatest, most successful, most famous, wealthiest CEOs on our planet who have absolutely no character or class. Isn't it true that when we start talking about selective consistency and consistency in being that classy person, we must also focus in on character, which means it's what we do when no one's around that makes us or breaks us? Do you realize on that same flight, I learned about selective obedience, which I suppose all of us are guilty of at some point in our lives? You see, as we were flying from San Diego to Tampa, Florida, when we got over the skies of Louisiana, we had to make an emergency landing. And all of a sudden, the plane started to bounce a little bit, and the flight attendant comes over and says, "Now be seated, fasten your seatbelts. We are coming into turbulent space." And wouldn't you know it, 5 individuals in first class and another 25 individuals back in the back of the plane sitting in coach. When we hit that amazing, brutal turbulence, were slammed to the ceiling of the aircraft and then slammed back down into their seats which forced us to make an emergency landing in Louisiana, where the ambulances came out on the tarmac and they took those 5 passengers from first class and those 25 passengers from coach away in ambulances who suffered severe neck and back injuries. What's my point? I'll bet you, I don't know how much I'll wager, but I will bet you that those 5 first class seats were occupied by the 5 low budget folks who trashed the washroom and basically explained to all of us, you cannot buy class. Selective obedience, yeah, I know the rules, but I'm a big boy. You don't understand how many years I've put into this job. I'm an expert. I don't need to wear my seatbelt. I don't need to put on my rubber gloves. I definitely don't need my glasses. I don't need my helmet. I don't need my safety protection. And in those instances, when we selectively obey, we're just asking for an accident to occur.